What if I told you there's a desert that sings? Not in a metaphorical way, but a real, physical sound, deep, echoing, and haunting, that seems to come from the dunes themselves. Somewhere in southwestern Africa lies a landscape so ancient, so surreal, that it feels like a forgotten piece of another planet. This is the Namib Desert, located along the coast of Namibia. It's not just any desert, it's one of the oldest deserts on Earth, believed to be over 55 million years old. The scenery is otherworldly, endless red sand dunes, shifting winds, ghost towns swallowed by sand, and the eerie fog that rolls in from the Atlantic Ocean. But the most mysterious part, some of the dunes here sing. When the wind hits just right, or when sand avalanches down their slopes, the air fills with a deep, resonant hum, like a low-frequency organ note reverberating through the silence. It's a natural phenomenon that science can explain, but still feels magical to experience. In this video, we're going to uncover the secrets of the Namib, explore the science behind the singing dunes, and dive into the legends that surround them. Ready to step into one of Earth's strangest symphonies? The Namib Desert stretches over 2,000 kilometers, 1,200 miles, along the Atlantic coast of southern Africa, cutting across Namibia, Angola, and South Africa. But make no mistake, this isn't just a sea of sand. The Namib is often called the oldest desert in the world, with its formation dating back more than 55 million years. Its age isn't just a number. It means this desert has remained hyper-arid for tens of millions of years, untouched by the dramatic climate shifts that reshaped most of the Earth. While rain is rare, the Namib thrives on something else entirely: fog. Thick, cold fog from the Atlantic Ocean rolls inland almost daily, providing a surprising source of moisture to its ecosystem. The landscape is nothing short of surreal. Towering red-orange dunes, some over 300 meters tall, dominate the skyline. The sand gets its color from iron oxidation, giving the desert a rusty glow, especially at sunrise and sunset. These dunes constantly shift and reshape, driven by the relentless wind. Along the skeleton coast, you'll find rusted shipwrecks buried in the sand and animal bones scattered like relics from another time. Inland, you'll encounter ghost towns slowly being swallowed whole by the desert. Despite its desolation, the Namib is alive, with stories, sounds, and species that have evolved to thrive where almost nothing else can. And among all of its strange wonders, one stands out the most: the dunes that sing. So what exactly causes a desert to sing? In the Namib Desert, certain dunes produce a low-frequency humming or booming sound when large masses of dry sand slide down their slopes. It's deep, loud, and can last for several seconds, sometimes even longer. Locals describe it as thunder, distant drums, or even a surreal, ghostly chant coming from the earth itself. This phenomenon is known as booming dunes, or singing sand, and it's been reported in only a handful of places across the globe, like the Sahara in Morocco, the Gobi Desert in China, and parts of Death Valley in the United States. But the dunes of the Namib are among the most powerful and consistent producers of this sound. The explanation lies in the physics of sand movement. When the grains are very dry, smooth, and uniform in size, and when they slide down a steep slope in large quantities, they begin to vibrate together in harmony. Think of it like a choir of sand grains all resonating at the same frequency. These vibrations produce sound waves, typically in the range of 80 to 110 hertz, right around the same frequency as the lowest notes on a piano. That's why the sound feels so deep and almost musical. Interestingly, not all dunes sing. Only those with the right slope, grain size, moisture level, and wind conditions can create the sound. Some scientists have even studied these dunes with sensitive microphones and found that the exact note varies from dune to dune, like each one has its own signature voice. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Even though science can explain how it happens, no one fully understands why only certain dunes produce the effect so strongly, and why the sound sometimes travels for miles across the desert. In the Namib, this mystery has become part of the landscape's identity, a rare and beautiful sound born from silence that no machine could ever truly replicate. Long before scientists tried to explain the singing dunes, the indigenous peoples of Namibia had their own stories, rich in symbolism, spirit, and ancient wisdom. To the Himba and San Bushmen communities who have lived in or near the Namib for centuries, the desert is more than just land, it's alive. And when it sings, it's not just a natural phenomenon, it's a message. Some Himba elders believe the humming sound is the voice of the ancestors, whispering warnings or guidance to those who still walk the earth. Others say it's the earth itself breathing, a spiritual rhythm that keeps nature in balance. In San oral tradition, the desert song is sometimes linked to tales of trickster spirits or sky beings who once lived among the dunes. According to one legend, a powerful spirit was trapped beneath the sand after angering the gods, and every time the dunes sing, it's the spirit trying to escape. These myths are passed down through generations, not written in books, but shared around fires, in stories told under the stars, with the desert wind howling in the background. Even today, many locals speak of the singing dunes with reverence. Whether they believe it's a natural occurrence or a supernatural one, they agree on one thing: the sound commands respect. For those who live close to the Namib, the dunes are not just part of the scenery. They are sacred, mysterious, and very much alive. Despite its harsh conditions, the Namib desert is far from lifeless. Beneath its blazing sun and endless sand lies an ecosystem that has adapted in remarkable and almost alien ways. One of its most iconic residents is the Namib desert beetle, famous for a survival trick that feels like science fiction. Every morning, it climbs to the top of a dune, lifts its back into the air, and lets the fog condense on its body. Tiny water droplets roll down into its mouth, fog harvesting, a natural miracle of desert engineering. Then there's the oryx, a majestic antelope that can survive extreme heat by controlling its body temperature and going long stretches without drinking water. It's built for survival in a place where life isn't supposed to thrive. Reptiles like sidewinder snakes, desert geckos, and burrowing lizards have adapted to stay hidden during the day and active at night. Some move across the sand in unusual patterns to avoid burns and predators. But perhaps the strangest organism in the Namib is the Welwitschia mirabilis, a prehistoric plant that looks like a tangled mess of leaves, but can live for over 1,000 years. It survives by pulling moisture straight from the desert fog, just like the beetle. Fog is the key to life in this desert. While rainfall is almost non-existent, the fog that rolls in from the Atlantic supplies just enough moisture to keep this fragile ecosystem going. It's a place that seems empty at first glance. But look closer, and you'll find a complex, ancient network of survivors, creatures, and plants that defy logic, evolving in perfect harmony with one of the harshest environments on Earth. In a world where most landscapes are shaped or scarred by human hands, the Namib Desert stands out as a rare exception. It remains remarkably untouched, pristine, and wild. But why? The first reason is simple: it's remote. The Namib stretches across thousands of kilometers, with vast areas completely uninhabited. Temperatures soar during the day and plummet at night. There's little water, no shade, and very few roads. Just reaching it requires effort, endurance, and planning. Second, the terrain itself acts like a natural fortress. Massive dunes constantly shift, swallowing any trails or structures that humans might leave behind. Coastal regions, like the infamous Skeleton Coast, are littered with the wreckage of ships that dared approach and failed. This reputation for danger has helped keep tourists and developers away. Third, much of the Namib is protected under conservation laws. The Namib Naukluft National Park is one of Africa's largest protected areas. Here, mining, development, and unrestricted tourism are heavily controlled. The goal? To preserve the desert's ecosystem and limit human impact. Finally, the desert's silence is its shield. It doesn't shout for attention like rainforests or coral reefs. Its beauty is subtle, slow, and sacred, and maybe that's why it survived so long. In many ways, the Namib protects itself. Its sheer scale, brutality, and isolation act as barriers, ensuring that the songs of its dunes continue undisturbed. For adventurous souls and mystery seekers, the Namib Desert is like a siren's call, beautiful, remote, and filled with secrets. Its singing dunes, rust-colored landscapes, and surreal silence attract a small but growing number of curious travelers each year. But make no mistake, this is not a place for the unprepared. The Namib's raw beauty comes with real risks. Temperatures can swing wildly, from freezing at night to blistering during the day. Sandstorms can appear without warning, reducing visibility to almost nothing. Water sources are scarce, and GPS signals are often unreliable in remote regions. Getting lost here isn't just inconvenient, it can be deadly. That's why most people explore the Namib through guided tours, usually operated by experienced local teams who know how to navigate the landscape safely. These tours often include visits to iconic spots like Sossusvlei, Deadvlei, and portions of the Skeleton Coast. Despite the dangers, those who make the journey often say it's life-changing. There's something deeply humbling about standing alone in a silent sea of sand, hearing the wind, and maybe, just maybe, hearing the desert sing. The Namib doesn't just ask you to look, it dares you to listen. The Namib Desert is more than just sand. It's a place where silence speaks, and the earth seems to hum with forgotten stories. From its ancient landscapes and resilient life forms to its mysterious singing dunes, every part of this desert feels like it belongs to another world. We've explored the science that explains how sand can sing, and the legends that give those songs spiritual meaning. We've seen how life thrives against all odds, how the desert protects itself, and why so few humans have dared to leave their mark here. But the real wonder of the Namib isn't just in what it is, it's in what it awakens in us. It reminds us that even in the most silent, desolate corners of the planet, there's life, sound, and story. That nature doesn't need to shout to leave us breathless. Sometimes the softest sounds are the ones that echo the longest. So the next time you look at a desert and think it's empty, remember the Namib. Remember the dunes that sing, because somewhere in that vast silence, the earth may be telling you something you've never heard before. If you enjoyed the content, like and share with your friends. See you next time.